Hey guys, it's Libby, and I do believe it is time for my August book haul. Side note, there is some construction going on outside of my house, as there seems to always be, so there might be some background noises or some funny cuts as I try to cut out the worst of the buzzing. So this first batch of books I got at the end of July, technically, when I was on vacation. There it goes, can you hear it? Oh, charming. Okay, so this first batch I got when I was at the beach in Bethany, and so I've already talked about several of them in my Booktubeathon haul, but just to review, I got Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, which I'm currently reading and having a very good time with. I'm also marking my spot in it with this very nice bookmark that I got at Bethany Beach Books. Then I got Shatter Me by Tahira Mafi. This is to make Whitney happy. And also because I just know inevitably I'm gonna get spoiled on this series, so I'm just gonna read it and then I won't get spoiled. And I have no idea if I'll like it or not. We'll find out. I also got Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I'm going to YALLFest in, November, and Leigh Bardugo is going to be there, so I thought that maybe I should read some of her books so she will have something to sign and I'll have something to talk about with her, because we are going to become best friends, I'm certain of it. And then I got, oh gosh, it's back. Okay, and then I got The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Now, this is a book that I'm not absolutely certain that I will like, but I do definitely have to read it because I think it's about me. This book is about a bunch of classics students in, I believe, America in, I believe, the 80s? I don't know, I made that up, something like that. And they are very sort of elite and pretentious and end up killing one of their number. I'm pretty sure that's not a spoiler, it's like on page 1. And I was a really snobby, pretentious classics student in high school. I was the president of the classics club, thank you very much. And also when there were non-classics majors in our class, my friends and I, whenever they said anything, would just be like, excuse me, have you even memorized the Iliad? Do you even know who Marcellus is? Have you even read any Alcaeus in the original Greek? I didn't think so, stop talking. We didn't actually say that, we were a little more polite, but we were all thinking it. So I want to read this book for nostalgia purposes. Also, apparently Donna Tartt is a very good author. Although she only puts out one book about every 10 years, which sounds like Diane Setterfield, my favorite living author. So maybe I'll have 2 authors who just slowly tear my heart out with the years and years between publications. And then the last book I got, I didn't technically buy. The people who had been staying in the rental house before me and my family left this book here. It is The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. I own the rest of Kate Morton's published works, and I've read House at Riverton and The Distant Hours. I had sort of researched this one, and it didn't sound as interesting to me as the other ones. My mother-in-law read this, and she said she didn't like it as much as the first 3. It sort of just seemed like a book that Kate wrote to write another book, and her books do get a little samey after a while. And also this one is more focused on the 1960s, which is a period I'm less interested in. House of Riverton is the 20s, Forgotten Garden, I'm not sure, and Distant Hours is the 40s, late 30s, early 40s. So I hadn't been planning to read this, but then it was there for the taking, so I thought, why not? Maybe I'll read it, maybe I'll drop books on the floor, oops, sorry Secret History. But now I have it if I want to be a Kate Morton completist. Actually, you know what, maybe I'll read it next year when I'm at the beach, because this is quite a read at the beach and then leave it there sort of book, apparently. Then I got some books from Book Outlet, as I do. The first one was Kissing the Witch by Emma Donoghue. Emma Donoghue is famous for the Tea Rose series, I think is what it's called. That's what the first book's called. And I own another book of hers on ebook called something about winter. I don't know, but it's a novelization of an actual murder, I think, but I have not been able to get myself into that, so I'm going to try these short stories first. They're sort of retellings, twisted retellings of fairy tales. Do we want to get any specifics from the back? No, it does not want to give us any specifics on the back. But it's quite short, and all the tales are like 20 pages with fairly big font and fairly wide margins. So this should be a quick, hopefully enjoyable read, or it might make me incredibly depressed, depending on how the twisting goes. Then I got another collection of short stories. This is Queen Victoria's Book of Spells. It is edited by Ellen Datlow and Terry Windling, and it's by several authors. The ones that I picked it up for were, where are they? Gregory Maguire. I read his Confessions of an Ugly Stepsister earlier this year, and I like that. Veronica Chenoz, who wrote Burning Girls, which I just read for the Booktubeathon and had a good time with. Catherine M. Valente. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right. But she has written quite a few books. She's most famous for her middle grade stories. The girl who did various things to Fairyland. What is it? There's the girl who soared over Fairyland and cut the moon in two, the girl who fell beneath Fairyland and led the revels there, and I can't remember the name of the first one, but it's something like that. But this is called an anthology of Gaslamp fantasy. Gaslamp fantasy being sort of the more fantasy side to the to steampunk, which is the more science fiction side. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is often considered Gaslamp fantasy. And I had a super good time with that. Then I got Of Metal and Wishes by Sarah Fine. You may have heard of this because its sequel came out quite recently, or possibly is about to come out, which is called Of Rust and Bone. This is a Phantom of the Opera retelling set in a sort of very mildly steampunky, I think, but more like dystopian, kind of Asian feeling factory setting. And I really don't know how I'm going to feel about this. A lot of the reviews on Goodreads are more negative, but a lot of the things they were complaining about are things that don't particularly bother me. I also got Siege and Storm, also by Leigh Bardugo. I saw it and it was cheap, so I figured odds are I will like Shadow and Bone. It seems like it's my thing. It's, you know, set in not Russia. Definitely not Russia. And there's onion domes on it. I love onion domes. Onion domes are just the ultimate in architecture. One day, when I feel like I'm not going to be abducted and held as a hostage, I'm going to go to Russia and I'm going to see the Kremlin and I'm going to just melt before the awesomeness of those onion domes. Until then, I'm going to read about fantasy onion domes. They better talk about onion domes in here. And then finally I got Midwinter Blood by Marcus Sedgwick. Now, I haven't read any Marcus Sedgwick, even though he has written quite a few. I believe they're all YA novels. I had The Ghosts of Heaven on my to-read list for a while, but that one was never showing up on Book Outlet, but this one kept being available. So I finally looked into it. It's one of those stories about two people who like meet in different incarnations across the centuries, but it's not romantic. Sometimes they meet in a romantic context, but sometimes they're like mother and son and other things. I cannot think of any other human relations. And I approve of this. It's always good when we can get an exploration of non-romantic relationships. So there we go, the books I got. If any of you have read any of these books, particularly Of Metal and Wishes, please let me know what you thought of them. So I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I will see you soon in another video.